4 years. Jay, the feeling is he wants to stay in Washington. What does it mean if he does?
I mean, it's almost like $100+ million more if he does, Key. Listen to this. In year 5, when Bradley Beal is 33 years old, he would have fully guaranteed $56.4 million, right? So Bradley Beal is going to take the bag. I mean, that's a crazy amount of money to stay with the team, and that's the benefit of being able to sign the Supermax deal. Now, I do like the move that Tommy Shepard did, and they traded away KCP and Ish Smith, and they're able to get in return from Denver Monte Morris and Will Barton, considering his team needs a PG. And I do like Will Barton if he can remain healthy. But it does sometimes when you take a chance, not a chance, when you accept the bag like this for a franchise like the Washington Wizards, it led me to think, Alan, like, damn, like I just feel like Bradley Beal is going to be stuck in purgatory. Now, look, you can always get out of purgatory year 2, year 3 if you want to demand a trade. That is an option that I've heard agents talking about that they can utilize. We've seen Ben Simmons do that to a degree, but it can dampen your reputation. But man, that's a lot of money to turn down on that kind of deal. You can't turn that down.
Jay, okay, so if he decided to sign with somebody else though, what type of money could he get from a contender though? And how old is Bradley Beal? What is he, 30?
So Bradley Beal right now is 27.
No, yeah,
27.
He's
So he's still
30.
young. Oh yeah, so he's still young.
29, 20. No,
Yeah.
28, like 27, 28.
Okay, I said
He's
30.
under
So
30.
He's still,
Under 30.
He's still relatively young. He could kind of wait 3 years and play it out in Washington, I would say. If he was a little bit older, then maybe not taking the bag and finding a real contender that can give him something close to the bag might be the way to go. But, I mean, it is hard to pass on a lot of money like that. There's no question about it.
Close
It
to the
depends on what your
bag,
team
Key.
is like.
Close to the bag, Key. I think at the last I checked, now the numbers changed because Tim Bontemps is reporting the salary cap's going up almost $12 million. So that adjusts just the max. But the last I saw, the most he can get from a team not the Wizards is a 4-year 186. So that's your difference.
For 4-year 186 versus
5 years at 248. Yeah.
That's
Now
what I'm
again,
saying,
that 186 could be could slide a little higher just based on the cap increase. I have not seen an updated number yet, but still, that is a stark difference. And as Jay said, that's the whole reason why.
But Key, this is what people do, and I have heard agents make mention of it. I even said it as it related to Giannis, and people were losing their mind.
take
right?
the money, then take the money.
1,000,000%. You signed a deal, and this is what Adam Silver and company are going to have to address when the CBA comes up in 2023, 2024, is that you can right now sign a deal, give me the Supermax, and then after a couple of years, look, this isn't working out. It's not working out. I'm going to need to get out of here. But I've secured my bag, and now I can go somewhere where I can be forced to be a contender.
Well, that's why I asked you about his age, because the play for me would be get my 250 or whatever that number is, and then let's see what happens over the next 3 years as I get a little bit older. If it starts to look a little dark for me now, I might want to say I got to find me somebody who can give me a championship. That's the way you play it.
Right. And that's why I feel like when the CBA comes up, Adam Silver, like they have to get this vote across. Where it's like, if you are a Supermax guy from the owner's perspective and you sign on this dotted line, that if you decide to force a trade or decide, hey, I don't want to be here anymore, it's not working out, then you get to forego that contract. I mean, look.
Yeah, but I don't want to be stuck, though, Jay.
I hear you, but I mean, that's the advantage of getting a Supermax.
It's the idea that I've made a commitment to you. This is significant. A quarter of, right? Think about how much, $250 million. I mean, that's the commitment I'm making to you. And in 2 years, you're just going to take that commitment from me because you can get that, and then you're going to say in 2 years I don't want to play here anymore. There has to be a way, and they definitely are going to be talking about that. But the purgatory thing. Go ahead, Kate.
I was going to say in 2 years, a lot of things can happen with an organization. They get to firing coaches and firing general managers and bringing in the wrong talent around you. Yeah, and then it's time for me to go because you didn't honor your commitment, which is you're going to build a winner around me. I'm doing everything I can do, But y'all out here got me looking bad.
Yeah, but there should be extreme penalties for that because you have signed a contract for
Oh,
an
Jay, stop
exponentially.
sounding like an owner.
No, it's the reality of the matter, though. And look,
Two
I'm
sides of the story.
I'm pro player, man. A lot of the times, but as it relates to economics, Key, if I'm willing to give you an extra $70, $80 million to secure you to be a part of my organization to build around through ups and downs for 5 years, just because things are getting hard or they're not going the way you want it to go, doesn't mean that you should just be able to force your way out and get out easy. I don't see it that way either, my man.
Yeah, as you said, Key, though, that I'd make sure I get my money and then I'll worry about everything else later. And that is the problem if I'm an owner. If you're a player, you're absolutely right. That's how the system works right now. Get the highest you can get. And then in a couple, if you're not happy, you got to live through this. I mean, Donovan Mitchell probably has to do that now in Utah, right? He's not thrilled, but he signed that extension. All these young guys that sign those extensions to stay with the team and then look around them and say, I don't really want to be here, but that's the most money. I can't turn down money like that. It's life-changing. So you stay anyway, even though it's probably not the best thing for you.
Hey, but most people, see, this is almost like the Kyrie situation, Jay. You got to really dive into it. Most people that sign these Supermax deals, they're staying with their teams. They're not forcing their way out after a couple years.
It is true.
Most of them.
Yeah.
That is
See,
true.
so there's this narrative that's out there that guys are doing this, and it's not true. It is not true at all whatsoever.
I think what you worry about is it becoming a trend. When you see a couple of guys do it and it works out for them, then you wonder.
Coach,
But
who's done it?
But Ben Simmons has done it in a really big way.
Yeah,
Oh,
but Ben Simmons had that's
Anthony
different
Davis.
though. The city soured on him. Anthony Davis never signed the Supermax. He never ever signed the Supermax.
Yeah, but he
Orleans.
forced his way out of New Orleans.
He had 1 year left. They had to do something.
Right,
But it was
his
the way it
rookie deal.
went down for that organization, though, Key, and
but
the
he
ownership
had
at the
to-
time. I mean,
he
it
had
was
to
a
make a
series of
decision.
stunts. Remember the shirt he wore?
Of
That's
course.
all, folks.
That's all,
I
folks.
mean,
Yeah, but remember, he was not on a Supermax deal. He had 1 year expiring contract. He was trying to get out of there.
yeah,
to
but
get
he was
to the
their, he was
Lakers.
their franchise player. I'm not saying it relates to the Supermax, but I am saying as it relates to smaller market ownerships, like if you're able to draft guys and they sign extensions for Supermaxes and they're like, it's
they're out.
it's hard on something like, hey, like just because
No, but
we're
see,
not,
you keep saying Supermax, Jay. He never had the Supermax. Westbrook didn't force his way out of OKC when he made the decision to sign
No,
the
no, no.
Supermax.
Yeah, that's true.
He didn't force his way out of there.
They're the ones
but
that moved on from
based
him.
on what you're saying, people will assume that Westbrook forced his way out. Or James Harden signed a Supermax with the Houston Rockets and forced his way out. He declined their extension and decided to leave.
That's a different story altogether. No, we're
I
putting,
just want to bring some clarity to it.
you are, but you're pushing like all of these stories into like one, thinking we're all looking at it that way. I think in the NBA, people understand which is the story of I'm taking the money and then later. I think the fear is that could start to happen. That's what the fear is. But there is not a great track record of it, and owners don't want that to happen. That's the point. But I love what Jay said, though, about the reality of it. You have choices when you become a free agent. That's the best thing about free agency is I can say, you know what? Bradley Beal's in Washington. Have they won? Have they done anything significant? He is a really good player, but he's been on a team that is in the worst place. You're not in the depths of the lottery where you're going to get a ton of great young talent. You're in purgatory. You're right in the middle. It's the worst place to be, and yet here he is saying, I'm fine with it.
Me too. I'm
stay
fine
here.
with it too if I'm
He
him.
could sign. You know how many teams would love to give him money? I mean, think about the team. The Sixers would probably try to carve out money for him. Everybody would try to make space for him, and he's at least reportedly going to say, "No, I'm happy here. I'm staying here." So the purgatory thing, I think, is a great thing to talk about because it's not just Bradley Beal. So Evan, let's bring you in, our producer Evan Wilner, and let's play a little real or not real with guys who are stuck in NBA purgatory.
Yeah, so real if you think he is, not real if you think he